I wish good things to you who's watching this. I am Alexey, and today is one of my favorite Carcassonne events to ever stream, the yearly Carcassonne Belgium Online Championship 2026. We are in the semi-final stage, and both of the semi-finals are happening today. First of all, in 2 minutes, Thomas Declerck with the screen name Valmir79 is going to play Maud Quaniers with the screen name mobidic, and an hour later the defending vice champion Raf Mesotten with the screen name Raf is going to play the rising star of Belgium. I'm going to explain why in a few minutes. Michiel Meire with the screen name Learn to Fly. Before we do a proper intro, just wanted to acknowledge everybody in the chat. Hi Michiel, hi Gina, hi Nico, hi Crafty. Thank you, Nico, for explaining my thumbnail concept. That was all intentional. Alrighty, so in a minute we're going to start the game. The format is very much straightforward, like in all normal Carcassonne tournaments. These are going to be best of 3 encounters of the games in the usual time format. So here you can see the playoff journeys of the players. So Valmir defeated Baisha and Karkaroff 9, so far quite smooth sailing for them. This is where they are. mobidic, interestingly, was qualified by defeating Gina in the quarterfinals, former national champion and one of the Belgian masters as well. So quite a big victory there for Maud. Certainly she's going to have the momentum. Raf does not need introduction for many of our channel viewers. We can see that smooth sailing so far in the previous playoff rounds. A bit of a tiny hiccup for... Oops, never mind, I looked wrong. So Learn to Fly defeated Nice Dicer. Tom D. Schmidt, also another strong expert of Belgium, in the quarterfinals. And here in the semifinals, in the second semifinal, I expect the chances to be a bit equal, because Raf is obviously the most famous and maybe even highest rated player in the Belgium when it comes to peak rating. But Learn to Fly has been really in good shape recently, and Michiel has been instrumental in some of Belgium's team achievement on the international arena, namely their top 4 finish in the European Championship, where Michiel defeated several strong players, several international masters. Right, do let me know if the volume is now okay. At least it should be loud enough, I think. So here you can see the players. Valmir currently rated 600 with 2,700 games of experience. Yes, of course, of only experts remaining in the tournament. Maud is rated 555, also expert rating. Why did I say 555? I meant 541, with over 6,000 games of experience. And Raf currently rated only 515, but this is due to some experience with multiplayer games, as I've been told. And of course, his peak rating is much higher, over 700, and Learn to Fly in excellent shape, with over 7,000 games of experience and a rating of 565. So as you see, all 4 players today with quite equalish ratings. We really don't know all that much what to expect. Should be 2 close matches of Carcassonne. Alright, so Maud Quaniers is playing with red meeples. The game has already started. She hasn't gotten herself any points yet, but she has this 3-point road and a 1-point city and a 2-point city with a shield over here in progress. There's a shared city over here. And Thomas is playing the green meeples, already 4 points on the board for continuing and completing this road. Currently just this 1 city piece, so overall an equalish position. Looking actually quite good for Maud. After this move, she starts a second road. continues her city at the top, so all red meeples are productively and safely placed, and in this position I slightly prefer red over green. Do let me know in the chat who you're rooting for and who you think is going to win. I will certainly refrain from predictions myself. Hi, Mr. Uzonas. Alrighty. So the first monastery of the game has just been deployed by Maud for 6 points. Valmir builds up his city on the left. Now has a curve with not too many options. I guess we just have to pick up this road at the top. It does continue the monastery for Maud, but it prevents her from scoring 4 points if she gets a crossroad tile. Not something that green wants. So the most natural move has been reluctantly made. Roughly equal on the clock. Maud now finishes the city at the bottom. Valmir probably going to continue the city here. There are some risks associated with that, like for example the city could be invaded or even blocked. If it does get blocked, however, it also blocks the red monastery, so I think it's not such a big deal. And now actually this creates a bit of a difficult decision for Maud here. So she has the shielded tile and several options. In theory we want to go here and invade that city, but we would also be restricting our own monastery towards a 50-50 chance of getting the road monastery. And this is not necessarily the best board texture to be doing this. So she chooses very quickly to just continue her city at the top, which was among the top options. Another option was going over here and blocking the square, but at the same time trying to block the green city. The reason why red chose not to do that is because sometimes when you go here with a Dorito and try to go the city, then green draws a splitter tile, completes a city for 10 points, and you are left still with this unfillable hole next to your monastery. So this is the most low variance move that she could find, and also definitely the shielded tile does help quite a bit for her. Now again, an interesting decision with this monastery, as Valmir finishes a 5-point road, goes for a high-scoring move for 4 points, which I'd rather like. The one disadvantage of that move is that it accidentally, indirectly protects the city. So let's say if green were to draw a Dorito tile and turn it to the left, then for red it would be harder to draw a tile that attacks the city from here, because this square is a bit restricted. But a great sequence of tiles for Maud, as she both protects her monastery and attacks the city successfully. However, an even better tile for Thomas, as he's going to take 10 points, finish the city, and even place a meeple on a 4-point road. An advantage on the scoreboard goes to green, and he has 5 meeples to Maud's 1 meeple, but overall, I might still actually prefer red in this position. However, here, I believe we see the first hints of impatience from Maud. Now, the standard move in this situation is to go here, and yes, place your last meeple on the city cap, as uncomfortable as it may seem, because this is just too high variance of a move to my taste. Like, you're definitely threatening to continue and complete a nice city, don't get me wrong. But just so often, your opponent either blocks the square, which is what is starting to happening right now, or invades over here, which would, of course, be even much worse. So yeah, I think maybe red did not want to place her last meeple, and there's certainly some pleasure being derived from creating an immediate threat, which is what she did. But placing her last meeple would not have been a big deal, because like all her other meeples are well placed. There's some recovery options in several spots, and in fact we know that because she drew the second splitter, had she made the canonical move, she would have actually completed this bigger city. Now it is still possible, but it's going to be still quite a wait. There are 3 tiles that fit into that square, and I'm pretty sure that green is going to go here at some point and try to block it permanently. So it's not a bad position to be in. What makes it not great is this 3-point road next to it, which is frozen, because red cannot go over here, since this would create a blocking platform, which would allow green to completely block this square. Green, I think, gets a little bit impatient with trying to block. I would have definitely preferred just cleaning off the city cap if you're Valmir, but the higher variance approach ends up working, as Maud does not get the blocking tile. I mean, she does not get the defense tile. She just gets a tile with which she can continue her monastery in a rather creative way, actually. So again, a bit non-standard. Like, the normal move is just to go here and build up like this. Also, unfortunately for her, this city is completely blocked, and with that one move, the advantage in this position goes from green to red. From red to green, rather. She does, however, I was going to say recover this meeple, but she goes way, way, way more aggressive, trying to take points, block the square, and then finish this road indirectly, which is a laudable approach. But in this instance, I'm a little bit skeptical, because there are actually not that many straight line tiles that go into this square. And red does need meeples back quite soon, and it could take quite a while for red to draw one of the 3 remaining straight line tiles, or a road tile. Alright, so red breaks green's city, which is something. Green can still continue it, which probably he can afford, just because red doesn't have too many meeples to invade. Green can also go here, meeple the city, and then pressure the square, and just trying to sort of bully red with his meeple advantage. This is another approach. And probably we're going to see one of these 2 moves. A third option is to just go here and clean off the city cap straight away. That would not be the strongest. And instead, green goes for just a blocking attempt, which is actually not that bad. I think that it's a bit better to be more flexible to try and score and block. Because what Maud can do now, she can just go here and then continue her monastery without the fear of giving back her opponent a completable city, simply because this city is a bit of a broken shape. It needs 4 tiles to be completed, and with green already having another city which needs 3 tiles to be completed, it's not really a huge threat for Valmir to go here and finish the city, but he does attempt, so it's more of a long-term threat. Now after this, there are 3 tiles that are needed to complete this. Valmir trying to block red's monastery. Red defends by also staking 4 points. There are still blocking options, but not too many of them. Hi, Fabian. Thank you for pointing out the important information that Moby is so far undefeated in this Belgian Online Championship, Nico. Yeah, Gina pointing out in the chat that red could have completed this city. She had some valuable things that she could do there, which she did. And finally, she figured that she's ahead enough in points that she can, in theory, win this game without completing her monastery, which is true. Speaking of monasteries, green draw a huge tile in this area, taking 8 points and even having a chance to get the 9th and a meeple back with one of the 3 remaining curves. So of course red is trying to get 2 points here, whilst also creating the blocking platform against this square. Valmir now needs to decide how badly he wants that meeple back. So if he wants to defend, he could go here, for example, just not allow one of the 2 remaining straight lines to be drawn in that area, because a straight line would block this square to a road monastery, and road monasteries no longer exist in the deck. Also, I came up for a new abbreviation for road monastery. It's going to be ROMO. ROMO and FEMO. for field monastery. So Valmir does defend, which I think is a bit extra, honestly. If I am the player with a green meeple here, I'd rather prefer to consolidate this city. I sacrifice this meeple because I have the meeple advantage anyway, like it's 18 tiles until the end of the game, and it's enough time to finish the game. So like it's enough meeples to finish the game. So if I'm Valmir, I would probably just go here. And as we can see, this move ends up being useless because Moby gets a curve and draws this anyway. So the block has been complete. In the meantime, Moby is building up multiple cities on the right, still preserving her lead on the scoreboard. Some quick points for Valmir, some additional threats for Valmir as well, like this city is still completable. The first farmer of the game, with only 13 tiles remaining, has been dropped by green. This is an excellent illustration of how close this position is. We're probably going to see a counter farmer from red, maybe somewhere here, for 6 points. You want to do this at some point. I'm not sure if this point is right now, but at some point you want to drop a farmer simply not to allow this green guy to go here and expand his possessions from 2 cities to 3 cities, yielding that farmer 9 points. 9 points, incidentally, would be the most valuable feature on the board. This shows you again just how close. Chooses not to do anything, which I think is not that great of a decision. I can definitely see how there might be not enough time to drop any farmers or anything, and she drops a farmer eventually, but does so with a suboptimal tile. It's not great to have this city cap over here. Valmir now gets a Dorito and should be quite happy with this draw. Now, ideally, of course, we want to go over here and try to finish our city with another Dorito. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are no Doritos remaining, and this is why green does not automatically go over here. In fact, if green wants to complete that city, it has to be done with probably a double city cap pattern, which is still possible. It's into that square, so Moby does not need to be worried about a game-ending city happening anytime soon. And overall, Moby's a bit ahead. Yeah, and it seems to be that Valmir has started to panic a little bit. He didn't even bother to take the quick points. I think in Valmir's eyes, maybe this city is still completable, which it isn't. And the fields are now unified. This farm is worth 12 points, 1 meeple per side, 4 completed cities on the farm. Moby can just go here. If she drops a farmer here, she will have multiple options to invade. She will have, I believe, a straight line over here and a tile over here as well. Valmir finishes his road and Moby's monasteries and drop a farmer for 6 points. But this gives multiple meeples to work with for Moby. And the standard move in this situation is just to go for like a 3-point farm or something. And she does exactly that. Valmir doesn't really have many options. It's his last tile. This should be a loss for the play with the green meeple, again, unless I'm severely mistaken. The last tile, I was going to say it's a dagger, but it is actually just the dagger that Valmir has in hand. So I think what green is trying to calculate, whether there's still a tile that fits here that would help this guy connect into the field, and the answer is that there isn't. So there shouldn't be too worried. One thing that they also... So Valmir ends up going for a 3-point field, does not go for a road, and that's a correct judgment because there was a road tile in hand, and so he would have lost a big field, but he didn't. He did lose the game overall with just 4 points and 2 seconds left on the clock. So I think these two moves did him in. Had he gone here and completed an 8-point city, it would have been an entirely different game. But then I believe Maud still had options to bully her opponent with the meeple advantage and win the field. So I think the play with the red meeples would have won this either way. In any case, Moby 1, Valmir 0, and we're headed to our second game. Oh, so the second game will be abandoned, and there's just the technical reasons for this. So the players, according to the rules of the Belgian Championships, will be playing with not randomized but fair starting player distributions. So that the starting player alternates. Last game, Moby had the starting advantage, so this game, Valmir is going to have the starting player advantage and put it to good use, scored 4 points. And there we are. A few opening moves have been made. I'm going to comment on them real quick. So 2 quick points from Valmir. Expanding their lead, Red manages to invade the city of Valmir. She's still sitting at 0 points, multiple vulnerable meeples. This vulnerable meeple, fortunately for her, is connected to this vulnerable road for green. Overall, in this position, green is doing a little bit better than red, because green has a bunch of tiles how to get out of this situation unscathed, whereas red will need to work for it. I'm thinking of scenarios such as a road Dorito. This guy gets 4 points, and then one of these squares gets blocked, and overall green has 1 meeple blocked in this construction, and red has 2 blocked meeples. There are, of course, other possible similar scenarios. The best for green is probably the triple city tile. That would give him back a meeple immediately and leave an even more vulnerable red meeple in the mix. This move from green I unfortunately do not like. I see the idea behind this. The idea, of course, is to pressure this poor red meeple. But it's not really that much pressure because there's still 2 starting tiles and 2 roses that fit into that square. So 4 tiles. And whenever there are 2 of road pieces kind of thorning into your city, it is in fact quite difficult to complete the block definitively. The most likely scenario is that green finishes the city eventually, and then red just defends towards a 75% chance of drawing one of the 2 starting tiles. This is what happens most often. In the meantime, on a different part of the board, the best possible tile in the deck has been drawn by green, getting his 2-point road out of harm's way and breaking the city of red rather unpleasantly. It's not completely broken, but still a lot of tiles need to be used to even remotely turn that city into a threat. 3 points are scored in the meantime by red. Finally, Maud is on the scoreboard. This green meeple is a little bit pressured. Maud has the first monastery of the game for 6 points, which controls a lot of space. Interestingly, if a regular monastery were to be drawn right now, it would be discarded. Well, not anymore, as a piece for it has been created, but after a couple of quick point moves, Maud successfully escapes her city situation, and this is why moves like these just don't work often enough to justify themselves. So a bit of a tactical mishap from Valmier. Still not a big deal, 1 point ahead, still the starting player advantage. Moby's now thinking what to do with this crossroad tile. Not sure really what to recommend. Ah, okay, I can see where the issues are coming from. And this move I honestly did not expect. I really did not expect that. Because I thought that she would go here and protect her road in this square. But now it seems that green can just destroy red's game by going over here, blocking red's road, red city, indirectly potentially another red city unless red draws a splitter, which is not that likely. And green will lose only 1 meeple, so it's 3 red's meeple against 1 green meeple. And of course this move has been played, it could have been prevented, and I can see why maybe red chose not to do that. I think she should have done that, I think she should have saved herself, and she would have had at least a 6-point road to show for herself. But now, yeah, life is going to be quite tough. Now, it's not horrible. Like, this position is not that bad. So first of all, she's ahead, she has a monastery, this road is open, so it can still grow. You can add a lot of road tiles to it, you can make it 10 points maybe. This city of green cannot develop any further. Also a fortunate splitter tile for red, bailing out at least 1 of the cities. Now suddenly the situation does not look so bad at all. Green has 2 vulnerable cities in this area, but statistically you'd be surprised, but both of them survive. Not 1 but 2 of these cities survive in most circumstances. So if you're a Valmier fan, then don't be too worried. What just happened? Why is it Valmier's turn again? I think I need to refresh something. I'm not sure if you saw the same thing, but the logs show that previous move was Valmier's. Ah, there we go. It's just Board Game Arena acting out. So Board Game Arena didn't show this here move. How red defended her city towards one of the 2 remaining starting tiles, so a 75% chance to get an 8-point city, a 6-point road, and also a bunch of meeples back. Actually, just 1 meeple back, what am I saying? Red gets herself a 1-point city, and also all but blocks this here city. There's only 1 tile remaining to fit into that square. The slight imprecision is that she chose to meeple this. Typically you make these moves without a meeple, because if your opponent takes this city cap, then they create a blocking platform to permanently block this 1-point guy, something that's absolutely worth it. And you see what the problem is. Now that red has placed this meeple, it now has become productive for the green guy to start blocking that square. Had this not happened, had this meeple not been over here, it would have been not productive to block this square. So not only are you endangering your meeple unnecessarily, but you're also delaying the creation of the blocking platform that will lead to a permanent block of your opponent's meeple. So yeah, a bit of a tactical imprecision from red, still an okay position. All she needs to do is draw a rose or a dagger before green draws a dagger. Yeah, this is actually surprisingly annoying, because whilst there are multiple tiles that fits into that square, not all of them are all that great. So for example, if she gets a triple city, which is still okay, she's going to score 3 points for a road, expand her city. But then a Dorito tile will be drawn by green. Green will go over here and block his own city, just to also block red's city as well. In the meantime, as red was trying to build up her monastery, a Sophie's Choice block was performed on the last move. Valmir is devoting a lot of effort to blocking, which is exactly how you should play when your opponent has only one meeple. Now the starting tile is needed both in this square and in this square. Only a 25% chance of being able to draw both starting tiles. And this square could anyway be further blocked. Moby, of course, is going to prioritize this area. She even decided to further her setup. Now pre-building a 6-point road, which only she can claim. Savvy move from Valmir, starting a 4-point road at the top and also taking away these road segments from potential consumption by this here red road meeple. The triple city that I was talking about happens. And Valmir now gets a shielded tile. And he has the option to go over here and complete the process that I was describing. And this is probably what they reluctantly have to do. But it's a shielded tile. And maybe we just go here. And maybe we try and create a counter threat of building up a sizable city and completing it. It's also not crazy to go here instead, just to try and meeple this segment, to join this segment to our city as soon as possible. Yeah, this move makes a lot of sense. Trying to fill the most restricted square at first and basically sacrificing this meeple, allowing red to potentially develop his city, but then going with a bigger city threat to counter. And a difficult decision now for Moby. Now she cannot go here, because that would save her opponent's city, and that's too annoying. She can, of course, go here and take quick points. This move is interesting, taking 6 points. Well, it's not interesting as it is necessary, really, or close to necessary. Of course, had she not gone there, Green would have continued his city and made it an imminent threat of completion. She wants to prevent that. It cost her her last meeple. But then there's this here square, which she can recover a meeple with a regular city cap for both herself and the opponent. She can still use the starting tile over here to recover monastery meeple. She can get multiple city caps to recover meeple over here. She can get a splitter tile if she's lucky, and then she's going to finish a 12-point city against her opponent's 4-point city. A city cap goes here, and this city is completely blocked. Something that's very nice to have if you're red. Green now does not go for the monastery. We can see how much effort Green devotes to blocking in this game. Really a lot of effort. Not something that can be really prevented by red, so she chooses to cover up this square and sets up this splitter tile. And this here move surprises me quite a bit by Valmir. I mean, it makes a lot of sense, don't get me wrong. Starting a 4-point road, blocking this here red's road from further build-ups. But it seems to me that the priority was to go here. Like, if you're going to start the block, why not continue the block? There would have been only one tile remaining that fits into that square. As of now, there are like 4 or 5 different tiles or something like this. 5 different city caps that fit into that square. So the restriction of the square is pretty urgent, and Valmir got the best tile in the deck to do that pretty much, or one of the best tiles in the deck. He does get the restriction though, but this restriction is not as good because there are 2 city caps that fit, 1 vertical splitter, and 1 regular city cap. Nevertheless, Valmir is steadily ahead on the scoreboard. 8 points, 2 meeples, just great, great, great stuff. By the way, there was also this option for red to expand this city. When I say 2 tiles, I mean 2 tiles that would complete the city immediately. A regular vanilla and a splitter like that. Not sure what to do with this extender tile. Green decides to build up on the right. To create a blocking platform potentially. Which red does not allow with this indirect defense. It is still possible to block that square, but it's just much harder because 5 out of the 5 road Doritos are gone, so this here configuration is not possible. Actually, now that I think, what configuration even is possible? I guess a dagger tile still goes over here, but that's about the only blocking tile in existence. Yeah, this is not a great situation for green. The 1 splitter will definitely give Moby some good chances. And like, she's not doing all that bad. Yes, she's 8 point down and she's losing 2 meeples. But the setups, like something is bound to hit. She has 5 high impact tiles available to her. 2 for here, 2 for here, 1 for this area. Like, surely she's going to draw something. A blocking attempt has been made. An indirect defense has been accomplished. So same sort of sequence as in this area. You could argue that maybe Valmir is spending a bit too much time on blocking. That maybe, for example, a move like this would have been in order to try and invade that city, which still was possible, but was maybe not the most productive idea. Well, Valmir gets one of the 2 cities that red needed over here. So now we're going to have ourselves a coin flip for the last city cap tile. Valmir decides to start a new field, which is quite interesting. Moby quite quickly finishes this city, but I think she should have thought for a little bit longer, because it's quite tempting from her perspective to finish the monastery and then try to spice things up and try to draw another one of these tiles, which would allow her to not only finish the city, but also take a 6-point road, or if later in the game, draw a 6-point farmer. Valmir gets, I was going to say a scoring tile, and a natural move is to go here, but he chooses to block that square, which is pretty interesting. But it appears to me that it is just not something that's worth doing, because he gives back this 8-point city up for grabs. And from green's perspective, if you're worried about your opponent going over here and using the splitter as a high impact tile, well, then you've just created another spot for your opponent to use the same splitter for just as high impact of a tile. So if you're going to do something like this, maybe what green should have done, whilst red was not having any meeples, instead of going for this farmer, which does not appear to have a lot of urgency, maybe green should have gone over here and then sets up the completion of this 8-point city and then actually completed it. In the meantime, as green is expanding his field at the bottom, which is now worth 9 points and could be even worth 12, I don't think it's going to be worth 12 because the city is about to get broken. unless Moby is going to calculate something in the endgame which we do not have access to. I do think that the move is breaking this city, but we're going to see. Yeah, she completed this 10-pointer. The 10-pointer that could have been blocked earlier by this here tile, but wasn't. And Valmir not going to complete the city on the left, as it gets broken. And in the endgame, it's rather a painful move. Like, you don't want to be doing moves like these if you're red, but you just do it because you have to prevent the greater threat. You sacrifice those 2 points, and you potentially have a meeple surplus just because allowing your opponent to finish the city would be so much more damaging. And from Valmir's perspective, it's a difficult decision now. We can either take the 3 immediate points by completing this city without a meeple, just because it's in our field, or we can go over here and recover a meeple for both of us, which in practice means only a meeple for one of us, because the third meeple that Moby is going to get, she's not going to be able to deploy. Or maybe, if there are a sufficient number of city caps remaining in the deck, which there aren't, but with 1 minute on the clock, maybe you're not sure about this, it is possible to just go here and play for the completion of that city. I don't think it is actually possible. We see that red finishes her monastery and drops a farmer, but this is a hasty and imprecise move from red. What she should have done, she should have gone here and dropped a farmer, because then the field would have been worth not 6 points, but 9 points due to the third completed city. She will get an extra monastery point, so she's only losing 2 points compared to the optimal move. But this is one of those cases where if you just think for a second longer, then you can find a stronger move than the first that pops into your mind. This is a very, very natural move to play, because in most stages of the game, you want to complete your features to get a meeple back. Here, getting a meeple back is pointless, because Moby's not going to be able to use all of them. She has 3 and only 1 tile in hand. She uses it for a 3-point city. And Valmir takes a 7-point move on what has become his 12-point field. And now the points are going to be counted. It's going to be fairly close. Moby, of course, is crushing it on the scoreboard. But Green has quite a few incompleted features, including a 12-point field. Part of Moby's strategy must have been time pressure. Time pressure on her opponent, because Valmir was in severe time trouble, having 2 seconds on his clock in the first game, 9 in the second, and losing both games by not a lot of points. Maud Quaniers is going to be, for the first time, the finalist of the Belgian Carcassonne Online Championship, where she will be playing against either Raf Mesotten or Michiel Meire. We had a great season for Maud so far, hitherto undefeated. Valmir will be playing in the bronze medal match sometime next week, which we will also endeavor to cover. Raf is saying next duel will start at 20:55, so 5 minutes from now. This is perfect. We don't need too long of a break. This will be just enough time to grab some hot beverages and take a proper make a proper intro. Just wanted to point out a couple of analysis things in this game. So it felt like overall Valmir chose a solid strategy to try and block a lot of things, but didn't quite see it through and sort of started being doubtful a little bit. So a lot of meeples of red are blocked and restricted, especially these ones in this area. The Sophie's Choice block over here, that was all wonderful. But then when it came to delivering the final blow, which would have been blocking this city, it felt that for a split second, the play with the green meeples was misprioritizing things a little bit, which allowed Maud to cover up, consolidate, get a boatload of meeples back to the point that she didn't even use all of them. So overall, really strong performance from Maud, and whoever plays against her in the finals is going to have a tough time. I'm gonna say even further that with play like this, she might as well be the favorite, despite being the first time in the finals. Alrighty, so now we're gonna take a 2-minute hot beverage break, then we're gonna come back and do a bit of intro for the second semifinals, and then we will be watching the game. We are back, and the semifinals, the second semifinal, is going to happen in 2 minutes between Michiel Meire and Raf Mesotten. Raf, 5,000 games of experience in Board Game Arena, plenty of content creation experience, 3rd place finisher at the World Championship in 2025 in Germany, so in good shape right now. The 515 rating is just a result of some experimentation in casual games, multiplayer games, since both casual and tournament games are rated on this website. Michiel Learn to Fly has had an excellent season so far, namely in team competition, helping his team Belgium to reach the semifinals of the European Team Carcassonne Online Championship, winning in some key duels. As you can see, 7,000 games of experience, a rating of 565, certainly a candidate to achieving the master title at some point. By experience, Raf is still going to be the favorite. By online performance and by current rating, Learn to Fly is going to be the favorite. So we should be starting right now. So, Michiel is playing with black meeples. Meeples a city. Raf is playing with bright red. Nice to see both players choosing colors from the Belgian flag. A second city tile in a row for black, threatening the completion of 2 cities. One of them is going to be invaded right now, but Raf chooses a different approach. He chooses to spend a shielded tile for himself for a completable unshared city, and of course he gets, I was going to say immediately invaded, although we ended up with not quite an invasion, but just a sort of a breakage, mini breakage of this here city. I'm not sure about the theory here. Like, the low variance decision is of course to just meeple the city, because so early in the game it is possible to develop the city here rather quickly. But speaking of quickly developing cities, Black has already 8 points on the scoreboard as a result of completing this here compact-shaped Pac-Man up north. Excellent tile for Raf, meepling yet another city, just diversifying his portfolio and threatening the completion of this guy, which is now not going to work since Black invaded, but Raf is going to threaten yet another city. He's not going to go over here. This city can be completed later. He's going to try and threaten the first 8-pointer of his own. Quite an easy decision here for Black. Yeah, this move, of course, is correct. Trying to block that city, and in case the city does not get blocked, then we indirectly continue our road into it. So a move with multiple positive outcomes. This straight line for Raf is rather interesting. I can think of 3 productive moves. The one which is the most peaceful is simply going over here and starting a new road, which would also protect this square indirectly, like it would make it harder for Black to put something over here and attack it. Another option is to go over here and protect the city directly to one of the 3 remaining starting tiles or 2 remaining roses. And a third option is to go here and protect the city indirectly, just making it something harder for Black to put over here, which would result into this blockage of the city. This would result in Red having more tiles available to himself. I got distracted a little bit, just started thinking about random things, but so many things happened. Let me just bring you up to date real quick. So, Learn to Fly is doing great on the scoreboard, 4 points ahead, has a 9-point field already. Raf just got back on the scoreboard with this 8-pointer, started a new city. We're equal on monasteries right now. Michiel is about to invade this here city, which is a good situation for Raf, because then, since this road isn't directly facing into that square, Black is kind of vulnerable here, so Black needs to spend some resources. And because Black needs to sort of save his meeple, and he kind of desperately needs to fill this square at some point, unless, of course, Black gets a crossroads that would allow him to save his road meeple, then there are some situations where Black goes over here with a triple city tile just to continue his road and just to equalize the cities, and this gives back an invasion platform for Raf, who then goes over here with another meeple and takes over that city. So this is just something nice to have for Raf. Like, this represents a bit of equity. I'm not sure how it translates to in terms of win percentage, but just this part of the board, maybe like 3, 4, yeah, like 3 extra win percentage points for Raf. I think that would be a fair assessment, fair estimation. Now a decision with the curve results in expanding the fields of this guy a little bit, but this was inevitable. This move was the only way to continue both the monastery and the road. Now this is going to be an interesting move for Michiel, as Raf creates multiple threats. One is to continue the city, another one is to restrict this monastery. So what are the options for black? Option 1, we go here because this is where this tile really belongs. Like, we get a couple of meeples back, one for ourselves and one for our opponent. We equalize these points, we continue this road indirectly. But another approach we'd have, which I would have maybe considered, was going here and simply not allowing our opponent to finish a city. The problem, of course, with this other move, which I suggested, was that this would result in us losing a meeple, at least temporarily. And that is kind of tough. So Raf finishes an 8-point city, goes ahead on the scoreboard, drops a farmer over here. Now, very tricky decision for Michiel. This farmer is annoyingly prone to successfully penetrate this area, just because there's no way of reliably blocking it, like, at all. Okay, I think the only way you do this is with a sequence of 2 tiles. You get a starting tile here and like another city tile over here, and you make a city road city sandwich. Yeah, so you go for the sandwich block, but it's kind of unlikely and takes valuable tiles. So from black's perspective, what we should be doing is things like this, where just go the equity route. We pre-build our road from the other side. We try to complete it for 6 points. Raf now cut that road short, which is one of the options that he can do. And then he'd be gaining 4 points, leaving only 3 points for black. So this could be nice. Another option is this, which also makes a lot of sense. Just to get his own road up and running, leaving this road a little bit exposed. The idea with that move, of course, is just to exacerbate the meeple advantage that black currently has, that red currently has. Red's going to get even more meeple by finishing a monastery over here. And now black is trying to prevent that a little bit. This move, however, seems to be a bit extra and played way, way too quickly. I think with only 4 curves remaining, we're probably better off going over here, just getting the meeple back, which we rather desperately need, and then placing something like a straight line over here in this area. Raf gets a city cap. Not sure exactly how he intends on using one. He might go here, start a new city, and then threaten to get something like a crossroad tile, go here, finish the city, drop a farmer, limit that square towards the crossroad. Raf also could consider going over here, starting a secondary 6-point field, which would have some backdoor routes through the bottom or through the left, ultimately into the main field. And this is actually my fav move because it is the most flexible. There is also the idea of a different interpretation of this move, which I seem to like even more. You drop a 6-point farmer, and you leave a city cap line outward. And in case somebody, whether you or your opponent, does take this city cap for 4 points, this will create a blocking platform against this square, something that we always wanted. This move is probably the strongest in my view, but I'm going to list you one more move, which is kind of peaceful, is that we just go here and start a new city, maybe with facing up, trying to play against the city of Learn to Fly, which is now looking too comfortable for comfort with this here move, with these here 2 shielded tiles. And Raf eventually goes for the farmer, which I think is just a slightly less precise variation of the move which I suggested. This, of course, is perfectly fine, but you'll see quite soon that it is a bit better to not leave a lazy reinvasion platform for that. There were also some blocking opportunities against this square, so just a slightly different orientation is what I would have preferred. Raf now gets a city cap, which is probably going to be used here. Instead, Raf now wants to create an alternative route for this here farmer, with the intention of maybe blocking this square, blocking all the monasteries, and then making it all the way around here. Lovely move from Michiel, threatening the city of red in multiple ways. Now red is sort of forced to go over here to try and protect this square and protect the city from getting blocked in one move, because Dorito could go here, blocking this square. But then this is a still slightly dangerous area of the board. This meeple has not been guaranteed survival. 4 tiles do fit over here, and the third farmer of Raf fully declares his strategic intentions for the majority of the game. He has converted his then meeple advantage into now kind of strategic control of the farming board, where most of the time all these fields are getting unified one way or another. So typically when you invade farms, you either want to have one secure route or 2 vulnerable routes, and currently 2 vulnerable routes are enough. So both of these squares are quite easy to block, but it is quite difficult to block both of these squares. So Black doesn't even bother doing that. Black, who could have gone over here and just tried to gamble for the 50-50 chance that red does not draw the monastery, instead prefers to try and block this square, not allowing red a meeple recovery. Red, of course, cannot go over here because this is not a defense tile, but red could actually go over here and then set up a monastery move for this square, making the invasion rather safe. There would be 3 tiles that go into that area. Maybe this is not the top priority. I would probably consider a move like this, which accomplishes multiple purposes. A purpose 1 of this move would be to create an attacking or invasion platform against this here black city, which is now turning into a threat. 1 more city cap tile and 12 points will be added to Learn to Fly scoreboard. The other purpose of this here move is that it would restrict this square, making this square potentially safer. And this is a square we might eventually need if you want something like a monastery plus straight line combo. Raf, however, opts for a different approach, a move which I honestly completely loathe. The idea of this move is to create an 8-point monastery, which is sort of to partially save this guy, right? But it does so many unpleasant things. So first of all, if Black gets a road tile and goes over here, then you are getting yourself a Sophie's Choice block regardless, right? Because now you need the same road monastery in 2 places. And Learn to Fly now gets a road monastery, and we're actually quite close to some painful blocking situations. So this meeple is trapped, deservedly. And now we're looking to go here, not with this tile, but with the next tile perhaps, and start cutting off this super majority of red's farm from the little but still unconquered black farm. Hi Juan, hi Thomas, hi Maud. Just checking the chat there. Hi Elias. So Learn to Fly goes for a monastery move, which makes a lot of sense. The idea there is just to simply score points. And a farmer, very interesting strategic farmer here for Black, but one which I maybe do not quite like. I certainly like the concept of dropping a farmer in that area because the idea is to unify everything, to get 2 meeples black and so on, to get 2 meeples back and so on and so forth. But if you're going to go for the farm, you're better off placing this farmer over here, so as not to allow red going in this square and dropping a farmer of his own, getting a 4 against 3 majority on this field. So a laudable idea, just questionable tactical interpretation. Quick points have been scored by Raf for the road and for a city. Learn to Fly still has a chance to complete this city at the top, or so he thought, but that wasn't actually true because there are no daggers that fit into this square. Crafty gets the last dagger, and it's probably going to go here with a farmer. At least this is what I would do. It is also possible to go here with a farmer like this, but then this might be less than necessary. Yeah, it looks like the first game is certainly headed the YouTuber's way. I guess if black gets this tile like soon enough, like right now, and then gets some quick points and manages to preserve the farm, yeah, then black probably wins. But red should have systems in place in their position, such as this move over here, that prevents exactly that from happening. Of course, Raf is going to find that move, make it pretty much almost impossible for black to get a field majority, making it difficult for black to even get field equality to begin with. Just because there's one tile that fits over here, but it's unblockable, and there's also this entry route over here. Yikes and sheesh. Sheesh and yikes. So maybe we have to think of some radical options. And I think I know what we need. Well, first of all, we need to not draw this tile. We need to draw something better. Let's say we draw a city cap on our next move. Then we go over here. And we draw a farmer. We drop a farmer. Then we get this tile, and by scoring 4 points for the road here, we manage to get our hypothetical farmer and the farmer of red onto the main field, preserving equality. Then we get the last Dorito tile going over here and scoring 12 points for the city. And then we would be ahead on the scoreboard and probably winning the game. This is actually a rather quick plan. Maybe there are some other options. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I was counting curve tiles. Because there are no curves remaining, this idea of invading the leftmost field like this no longer works. For invasion purposes, it actually does not matter that much if the fields get unified or not. So there's the shared 12-point field on the left. There's the currently shared 12-point field on the left. If this tile is drawn, it will become one big 21-point field with 7 completed cities, with the majority of this guy. This move indicates that black's plan for winning the game is going to be connected with drawing this tile, but black is not going to place it over there. Black is going to try and block the square, which black now did, and then just try to score quick points maybe, or win the game in another way. Or maybe go here and use this tile to invade the leftmost field. Still plenty of options. The last Dorito tile goes for Raf. Going over here would not do all that much. This move is quite savvy. Blocking the square, basically preventing the creation of a big field, which always benefits the side that is ahead. And also making sure that some of the potential invasion platforms on the left, on the right in this area are eliminated. A monastery spot is eliminated as well. Now, Learn to Fly has a couple of moves available. So the natural move is just to score 4 points. This is what the side that behind should do. But then the other option is to go here straight away, drop a farmer, hope for the last crossroads, for which we need to hope anyway, to keep this red farmer at bay. Then we get the last crossroads, we score 2 points, and we invade the leftmost field for 12. So this here would be a 14-point setup for the price of 1 meeple, which still unfortunately would not be enough to win the game, but at least that's a start. So maybe what we have to do is to score the 4 points after all, and then to try and draw another similar tile. Like if there were another rose, we could then go for the 14-point setup, but there isn't another rose. And we're probably not going to do as well as these 14 points. 12 for the field, and 2 for the hypothetical road in this area. So probably knowing Michiel, we're going to see this move more likely than this move. Yeah, tough choice for Michiel. And he goes for 4 points, which is completely understandable. Something that I was going to point out, that there was still a starting tile available, creating the option of going here and trying to connect to the main farm like this, also getting a long road in the process. So much so that I wonder why he decided not to do that. Savvy move from Raf, just blocking the farming platform. I'm not sure if that was even necessary given the remaining tiles, but certainly this is a move that you make in time trouble, like at least it cannot hurt. The blocking, of course, is not of this square, as this square was already blocked, and it is anyway wasn't in Red's interest to have that square blocked. But the blockage of this platform is what truly matters. There are no dagger tiles available, so this square is completely blocked. So some shenanigans of going here, here, invading through this area for 12 no longer work. The symmetrical idea, going on the left and dropping a ninja farmer like this, doesn't work either, because there are no curved tiles remaining. So it seems that black accepts his fate and just goes for a scoring move. A 5-point monastery is not going to be enough. And both parties probably know it. I'm sure some field invasion attempt is sort of kind of possible. Raf decides not even bother with meepling this monastery. Michiel can do, I don't know even what. Maybe just create an invasion platform somehow, which I even doubt will work. Well, I guess it could, right? So there is one crossroads, of course, this guy. And there's one more of these guys available. So if black goes over here, it then creates the chance of drawing a crossroads, placing a farmer over here, then getting an identical road Dorito and invading all the way through the outside. But this would only yield 12 points for black and require a very specific tile draw. Elias is suggesting ninja in the top right, which is something that I do not see at all. Where can we invade in the top right? Oh, like this. This is actually quite good. Yeah, this is a better interpretation of this. So we drop a farmer like this, and then we connect through the outside of this curve. We connect to a different field, but this field is also worth 12 points with 4 completed cities. And this move is definitely better when it comes to probabilities. We still need to draw the same tiles, but for different reasons. We need to draw the crossroads to deny our opponent the connection over here. And we need to draw the Dorito tile to complete the connection ourselves. The order, however, does not matter, unlike the scenario that I was describing on the left, where we did have to draw the crossroads first to drop a farmer and the Dorito later. Why is black saying 5? What could that possibly mean? This is like next level trash talk in the chat. Look at this, it's working. He's distracting Crafty Raf, and Crafty Raf is not making a move. Or at least made a slightly suboptimal move as a result. Of course, that ends up not mattering, as Crafty was winning this game no matter what. And now he even gets a crossroads, which is going to give him a 21-point field. Beautiful. Beautiful performance by the fellow content creator, in a position which did look quite favorable for black at the start. Yeah, Raf managed to find a way to leverage his temporary meeple advantage. Black did score quite a lot with monasteries, and all of that turned out not to be enough. Field attack on the right. Was he suggesting poor counting skills? He says he thought there was a dagger left. But then wait a second, if you think there's a dagger left, then you want to go over here, and then you want to use that dagger for a connection. Michiel is saying that the connection on the right was too dangerous with 2 crossroads remaining in the deck. Whilst it is probably true, you might have to go for these low prob options just because this is the best you have. And you are already in a position where you need one of the crossroads. It seems to me that maybe instead of going for these here, quick points, black already should have gone here for 14 and just invaded this. Which would not have happened, but we don't know that. And then black would still have a chance to drop another farmer over here and connect like this. Maybe that was a potential win. Look at this, some psychological moves. Raf is saying he pretended to attack this city. And remember there was this move where actually black spent a move on defending the square, which was already blocked. Yeah, this is some excellent psychology from Crafty, kind of relying on his opponent's counting mistakes. But yeah, now I can understand Black's move a little bit better, because from Black's perspective, if you think that there's a dagger remaining, well then you can win without the field, just as long as you draw the dagger, get a meeple back, and then either draw the crossroads to deny this guy a farm entrance, or draw something else to redeploy the last meeple for a future invasion. Yeah, so during the post-mortem in the chat, we do see that there was no opportunity to win with that move. Only some low prop chances, so Crafty Raf had taken care of everything. And we're headed into the second game. If Raf wins this one, he will have made the finals back-to-back in 2 years. That would certainly be some nice consistency for Michiel. I believe these would be the first ever finals, and honestly, the battle of two M's, Michiel and Maud Quaniers, would be certainly something very fun to watch. Alright, so Raf is now the starting player, which is not great news for all of you who are rooting for Michiel. Now we're getting some board game arena magic, which requires us to refresh the page. Now the position makes way more sense. With Crafty Raf going for this wonderful tactic of building a rhombus-shaped city around the capped road of his opponent. This is going to be a mini battle where red is in full control. The best case scenario for the green guy, for the black meeple, sorry, is to drop the triple city with a road without a shield preferably, get a meeple back, and then start obstructing the city. But even that is not that bad for red. Both opponents exchange natural moves. City completed for black, second road for black, principle of two cities for Raf as well. It's 3 cities technically, but this one doesn't count because it's going to be built up with fundamentally different tiles. So Raf now has his scoring set up. He has an opportunity to use every type of tile. Caps and extenders go here. Triangles go here. Then triple cities probably also go here as well. Monastery goes here, and road tiles goes here. Now this move is sort of a necessity because it's just the only place to start to road. Red takes care of the last remaining unclaimed road end on the deck, as now this crossroads has been put to full use by both players. But the downside of this move is that it creates just massive, massive monastery spots. A lot of variance this means. And black, of course, is a bit more likely to be successful because it was black's turn, but it is red, in fact, who gets the best monastery. The one for 7 points. Still 2 lucrative monastery spots available for black. This configuration is not perfect. I mean, it's nice, but sometimes it gets blocked. Like, red can go over here. Wonderful crossroads tile. Yeah, we can see that black was trying to block, and that was a good decision because, like, this is uncomfortable. Like, this square is sensitive, this square was sensitive, but just the perfectest tile available for Raf really puts him in a commanding position here. Oh, but let's see what Mr. Mesotten is going to do on this one. He has several options. So he has 3 cities currently in the process of being broken. And I was going to say he could technically save one of them by unifying with the city of black, but he chooses to be safer approach. And there was a third option of going over here and trying to protect this square a little bit, but even that is not bulletproof. So this move does make a lot of sense. Real city. It does, however, have some downsides. So I could certainly imagine here instead, and trying to build a city with less efficient tiles, but ones which are a little bit safer. So this move makes the most sense to me. It's just that there's a bit of an issue that with 4 Dorito road tiles remaining and 4 triple city tiles remaining, there is quite a big chance that red is going to draw a Dorito tile before a triple city tile, and this would require red to basically release this black road meeple prematurely. And there are some scenarios how black can get this meeple out and then block or invade the city nonetheless. So this move actually makes a lot of sense from Raf. The downside of that move is that Raf needs city caps in a large number of places, but all of that matters now a little bit less since black successfully completed the block and even created a major inconvenience for the monastery and the road of Raf. And as a result, the position is equal, but not for long, as a crossroad tile has been drawn to fit into this vulnerable square. The savvily placed 2-point meeple of black is going to score 2 points of compensation. But overall, with 10 points extra on the scoreboard and inexplicably a meeple extra in hand, this position is massively favorable for red. Red continues to city at the bottom, creating an additional threat of completing 2 cities, one for 8 points, one for 4. Michiel gets a split a tile with not many options to use it. Could actually just go here at the top and drop a farmer, and then try to gain a meeple majority in the future by finishing these 2 features and this one perhaps, and then just win the game with a medium-sized field. I think this is what I would be going for. But definitely something big needs to be happen for black. So he needs meeples, preferably he needs monasteries for scoring. I don't really see any better move. Maybe going over here, but this is actually also not great because you don't want typically for 2 city caps, and if you go here, you have the meeple, the city cap, right? So you have to place a meeple over here. So imagine a black meeple over here. You don't want to have 2 city caps facing each other the same direction too closely, and this move is a slightly worse variant of what I was suggesting. I'm not sure how important it is to just meeple the city cap. Like, with only 1 starting tile remaining, this is vulnerable. This is really vulnerable. Like, Raf can now go here if he so chooses. I mean, he's not going to go here, but he's going to try and create some restrictions. So I think as black, we just drop this farmer first, and then we simply gamble. We try to win the coin flip for the city cap. It appears to be a little bit safer. BMLZ is asking, why did Raf place a city cap? Why did he place this extender over here? Yeah, I don't know that. I actually think this was not a good move by Raf, so thank you for noticing this. The extender definitely would have belonged somewhere in this area. I think the logic of Raf was that if black invades from this square, then Raf can go over here and block here, which would block Michiel's road. But first of all, Michiel can just invade on the left. And second, I think Raf could have underestimated the severity of the completion of the city as a threat. Like, if you were to just draw a city cap, then black would have been quite troubled trying to place multiple tiles for blocking this square. Yeah, so thank you for noticing that, and all that leads to the city being not completed. It has been invaded. Raf covers it up a little bit, not allowing black to invade with a second meeple, perhaps. Lovely move here from black. Continuing his road and also creating an attacking platform against this square. But right back at him from Raf. Raf now making sure that black needs 2 city plus road tile in various places. This also means that Michiel now cannot go here, which was his desired move at some point. Cannot claim his field. Trying to block this square now, which is also quite annoying. Raf has a variety of options available. This one's the best one, going for a 6-point farm and creating an additional vulnerability. Also leaving a 4-point road, which he's more likely to claim than his opponent, just because, you know, Learn to Fly has multiple roads already invested. And regrettably for Michiel, I don't think he can afford to go here. I think we now need to start saving one of our cities, and I agree with his decision. Because here you probably have to wait for one of the 2 triple cities that would not just continue our road, but give a meeple back to us immediately. Mr. Mesotten with a curve. Has several options. Some of them are attacking, some of them are protecting. I'm thinking that it would be nice to try play against that square. Maybe we can even meeple this road, although this seems to be a little bit extra. Or, as an alternative, we protect our city indirectly, which is rather lovely as well. It is still possible to restrict or block the city, but not significantly, like if we go here right now. There's still going to be 2 crossroad tiles that fit here, but that said, I think we should do it, no? Because all 3 dagger tiles are out. A lot of tiles away from our opponent's arsenal. What we definitely don't do is a scoring move. Adding 1 point to our road really doesn't do that much. Taking a new 4-point road at the top would make our city exceptionally vulnerable. And what did he end up doing? Oh, yes, so he ended up doing... all right, we should be back right now. Okay, we should be back right now, and several things have happened. The blocking move, which I was suggesting, did not occur, but multiple other blocking moves did occur. So black finished the city here on the left, taking a smaller farm, eventually looking to penetrate here. Red finished an 8-point city here, preserving a 12-point lead on the scoreboard. This city was severely restricted and actually permanently blocked. And so was this one. So far, a very symmetrical position, other than the fact that black has road meeples, entangled here for a long time, and Crafty Raf has lead on the scoreboard, and the meeples, which now has been converted into a 6-point mixture, which is quite likely to be completed as well. Black is now crunching cities on the right. Raf, however, gets an amazing tile. I'm pretty sure 4 points are going to be scored over here, giving a bunch of green squares to this guy. And let's see if Michiel miscounts again, because like this move looks like it's trying to block the square. Will Michiel again not notice that that square is already blocked? Will he spend a move when trying to protect it? Because an alternative for Raf is to take this road for 4 points. But there's really no good reason to do so. Like, this move was just so much better, not only for psychological reasons, but also for practical ones. If we go here, it restricts the square a little bit, making it harder for this 6-point farmer penetrating into the main field, gaining 3 extra points. And also the green extra squares in our field would have been very nice. As for this move, I see absolutely no upside compared to the alternative. We'll be curious to hear Raf's thoughts about this after the game, but So far it seems either like an oversight or like overthinking. This poor road meeple, still waiting for a horse tile. Only 6 points is Black behind on the scoreboard. Black was ahead on meeples until now, not anymore. Uses one of his meeples to start a field, which actually is quite nice. I mean, he's going to get a monastery here. Some standard moves occurring. Raf is building up his ruin on the left, scoring for a road. Black is sort of trying to build up the field a little bit. This is actually quite a powerful move. Because it's indirectly builds up the field like all the way here. And Crafty Raf can help it by going over here for 6 points, which is what he's probably going to do. Okay, he goes here for 6 points, which sort of does the same thing. Maybe he does not want for there to exist a bigger field. Because if you go here, there's a chance to get the last remaining straight line. And then bring this here castle. And finally, after half the game, the player with the black meeples finishes a 4-point road and gets his meeple out. Like, this just shows you the power of Raf's move over here. So many intermediate players would have not done this, would have just started a new city independently. But did you see how annoying was this? To start a city in such a way which also completely covers up Black's road. Quite an instructive moment. Raf builds up his monastery. The city is actually still vulnerable for invasions. There's not one, but 2 dagger tiles that can go into this square. After this, there's going to be 1 Dorito that can go over here, but this Dorito actually is already in Black's hands, so never mind this. It doesn't change things much, however. There's going to be a triple city tile that goes over here and helps the takeover of this city. Right, so Black decides to continue his city, which does appear to be a correct move conceptually, but then I really don't see why he wouldn't turn the city towards the left. He must know something that I don't, because the thing that I didn't like about this is the vulnerability of the city, potentially, right? Because it could be attacked from both places. Raf, however, got a tile which was not super suitable for attacking, and all is well in the end for Learn to Fly. Both players exchange quick points, and now it is 42-42. A few extra points on the board for red, but 2 extra meeples for Black, and with that, all the chances in this game. Raf is probably going to score a little bit. Just getting the 4 points at the top seems to be the move. And with only 4 minutes on the clock, I don't think we need to hesitate too much. Just make the natural move. It is the safest move in the world. There's nothing wrong with 4 points. Glover is saying, funny how roads are usually used to annoy cities, but cities can fight back and annoy roads. Yeah, this is quite true. That poor Black meeple just could not see a break. That's an interesting move from black. So maybe this is why Raf was hesitating so much on the last turn. Because now what black did, they created an attacking platform against Raf's field, which only they can use. And now Raf has a really interesting choice, and he chooses to not invade the city, which is very interesting. Like, if you're gonna bother with spending a move on protection, wasn't it really better to just go here and prevent your opponent from invading the field? Okay, but it's whatever. I think Raf figured that he's ahead enough that he can afford this field being tied. He just cannot afford his opponent going here and then getting the triple city and winning big time. So in that sense, this move makes a lot of reason. But has my fellow YouTuber overlooked the possibilities to lose the game in a different way? This is also an interesting decision. He does get himself a monastery tile, but he chooses not to place a meeple on it. I wonder what he's saving a meeple for. And there's still a monastery here remaining to get a meeple back. Black is attacking the field of red on the left, which is something that makes quite a lot of sense. There's one curve remaining, there's a monastery remaining for this square, so it is definitely possible to complete this invasion, and then maybe get another tile that fits into this square and create a 9-point field for yourself. This move is annoying. This is a Sophie's Choice block. Now black needs a curve in this area and in this area as well. And he cannot use the curve to invade both fields. Raf can actually go over here and make it a triple Sophie's Choice block, making black need a curve in 3 squares. But the value of such a move would only be 6 points. So Raf chooses not to bother and just to score a little bit. Now, a curve has been drawn by Learn to Fly, so this field for 12 points is going to be equal. Monastery goes for Raf. He finishes the monastery, starts another one. What is the tile in Learn to Fly's hands? And it is a triple city. The best that Learn to Fly can do is taking 2 points, and this is not going to be enough. We will be pretty much equal on the farms. Okay, so this guy's going to have 6 points more. It's not going to cut it. Triple city for Raf will be used as a road tile. Learn to Fly is saying well deserved. I would have to agree with this statement. Raf played a very consistent game, really had a very consistent season so far after many close finishes and 4th places and 2nd places. Well, he still could technically get 2nd place in this tournament. But we're going to find out that next week. Right, let's see the postmortem. So 2 quick finishes today. First of all, 2-0 for Maud Quaniers. Now 2-0 for Raf Mesotten. Also going to boost his rating a little bit, getting 18 points. Craft Giraffe is saying, I was afraid you were going to enter the bottom city with 2 of the remaining daggers. Yeah, this is actually quite an instructive moment. That Raf used this over here to cover up the potential invasion. And also it's quite important that from Raf's perspective, it is not necessary for him to place a meeple over here because he does not have to gamble for a single tile. Like, he does not have to gamble for this one city tile. All he needs to do is just to make sure that his opponent does not have opportunities to score big. Yeah, very instructive, because what I would have done instinctively, I would have just left this alone, and I would have probably blocked the field over here. But Red correctly identified that losing 12 points would not lose him the game, and he played the move which gave him the best win percentage, and it paid off. Black is saying, so Learn to Fly is saying that with 3 meeples in hand, the goal was to take over some fields, but too little, too late. Yeah, and the fields were actually fine. I mean, he was really 1 tile away from getting here. And in fact, had the final tiles been reversed, like had Black gotten the monastery instead of Red, then Red would have scored considerably few points, and Black would have scored 6 more. Like, this would not have been enough to win the game, but it would make the point difference within 5 points or something like this, something considerably close. Black saying, I hope for the monastery and the curve, so we could take the long road at the bottom. Yeah, this was the idea here, that if we were to draw a monastery here as Black before the square was restricted, then we would connect to this field without spending a valuable curve. And then if we draw a curve, we go here, and we get 8 points for the road, which of course is excellent value for a meeple. At the end of the game, let's see what else the players are talking about. Hi, Kirillo. Well, both the pencil graphics have disappeared. Oh no, Learn to Fly is typing something. Learn to Fly saying, I think I lost it in the beginning with those 2 cows that I couldn't find a use for. Well, it wasn't too bad, right? Because this cow was used for blocking, and the blocking was successful, and the restriction was also quite annoying. This cow was also not that bad. We came actually quite close to blocking that city. I think as Black, though, instead of going here, we should have gone over here, perhaps, just to not allow this city cap to be drawn. I think, despite this move being reasonable because it led to an eventual block of the city, I think this just would have been a little bit more precise. So yeah, I don't think anything wrong was with these cow moves. Oh, look at this. Learn to Fly is already preparing the trash talk for the finals, in which he's not participating. I'm sure Crafty Raf will be extra motivated to break his streak of second places. Of course, he managed to do that at the in-person Belgium Championship last year, where he finally got first. And not sure if he's going to manage this against Maud Quaniers, who, being in the final the first time, will be extra motivated. Hi, Raf. Congratulations on the win. Alright, so the postmortem has been completed, the pleasantries have been completed. Let's just look one more time real quick at the grid. Let's see, actually I'm not sure if it's going to be updated this quickly, but you know the results anyway. Oh yes, look at these. Look at this, lovely updates. So, Craft Giraffe will be playing against mobidic. Valmir will be playing against Learn to Fly in the bronze medal match. Both are happening next week, and both we're planning, or at least endeavoring to cover on this channel, pending match times. If you don't want to miss the grand finals of the Belgian Carcassonne Online Championship, make sure to subscribe to this channel and click the bell notification icon, because the stream announcement is going to appear 24 hours or even sooner before the start of the tournament. And of course, make sure to meeple the like button if you enjoyed anything about this broadcast. Then feel free to join the broadcast on Wednesday. That will be for the Champions League, where the Austrian blitzscreen named El Durinho will be challenging the world champion Xiang Yu Qin from China. So chance to see the world Carcassonne champion, the reigning world champion, in action. And further streaming announcement will be made as more matches are scheduled. That's it for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you soon.